Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick, and today, guys, we're going to be jumping down into the world of Bitcoin, taking a look at what's been going on most recently and what I think is likely to happen next. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will not be, you'll be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here. You will not miss another video update. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out, linked in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out? Let's jump right down into today's video. What we'll do is we'll kick things off with the hourly chart, and there's some interesting things kind of going on. So we've seen a lot of liquidity-based grabbing going on. So our expectations yesterday were that we were going to stop right here based on the structure that led us into this move, right? So we had this low wave move, we had this breach up here peaking above the 37,972, and then our expectation was to have a short corrective wave structure and then a bounce to the upside. Obviously that did not play out, and we actually saw a significant pull to the downside, so significant we are now impulsive downwards. So we have here is our kind of five-wave structure point. We are yet to see the fifth wave movement, so we can of course still invalidate this, but what we're going to do is we're going to do some sense checks here, and we're going to make sure that we are aware. We know there's a 5-wave count here because we did this yesterday, so we know that this is a 5-wave move. We then bounced up to here, okay, and then we moved down to this 1.618. I would say that this looks like we potentially have actually completed our internal structures. It would look more like this. I'm going to go down to a smaller time frame in a second just to check, but I imagine that we overextended just like this, taking it down a little bit deeper. So let's go ahead and take this down into a 5-minute time frame. Because what I'm really interested in is not so much this structure here, but this one right here. So we can see this is a big move coming down. And again, 5 waves here, 5 waves there. And then we have this bigger kind of move here. This one being a very impulsive towards the end here with an extension, and very impulsive at the beginning. So it looks more likely to be diagonal in its structure. That does mean that we probably have found ourselves up here actually coming out of the danger zone right now. So let's take this back up into the hourly. So I'd say, yeah, that looks about right, meaning that we still have this bounce up at the moment. See, but the expectation is going to be that we still have further to the downside to go. We can't just have a random 5 waves, which pulls into question what was happening this side. Well, ultimately, if I go ahead and clear this out, it to me looks like we are going to be pulling back down even further. It's basically is going to be a struggle then for this 5th wave move, but we are still where we are, so it's still valid. Here we have a flat correction like this. Flat corrections, let me show you what that looks like, must end in 5 waves. Okay, so we have a couple of different kind of flat corrections. We have your kind of more typical kind of flat corrections, and then your irregular flat corrections. We've got an irregular, right? So at the moment we have is an A wave that comes up, a B wave that comes down lower than the origin of the A wave, and then a C wave that goes up higher than the A wave high. This is irregular. Okay, so this is what they call it, an irregular flat correction, and it kind of expands out like that. Okay, then of course you've got your running flat corrections where you have the same setup except the C wave fails to go higher than the A wave. Okay, so you can see how strange that is. They call that a running flat. What we have here is an irregular flat, basically a sideways movement. This essentially means that we are still in the corrective action here for this move, meaning that we probably will have to revisit back into those existing lows a little bit further, meaning that we're still in the wave 4. We haven't exited the wave 4. We haven't even started that 5th wave move to the upside. A little bit complicated, I know, but this allows you to kind of take consideration of all the liquidity grabbing that is going on in this kind of continuation, this sideways trading pattern within our wave 4. Our smart money concepts is still in a bullish structure, so we're not too concerned there, but you can see here how we were changing between bullish and bearish and back to bullish again. This is very typical of continuation based patterns, so nothing much is going on there. In fact, let's actually go ahead and bring up the on-chain data. So if you head over, and if you're a member already, membership.cheekycrypto.io, we do have 7-day free trials on all the plans. We have actually just recently updated a few of these things. So you can kind of see here we have different kind of currencies that you can kind of map these into. So I'm just going to load the page up into sterling because that is the currency I'm more used to. You can see here they start at $14.99 and they go up to $14.99 if you want access to everything. You can see what's included and what's not included. For the on-chain data, it is in the Trader Plus tier or the all accessed here. Okay, now from here, we head over into the data zone and we have the data portal. If I load the data portal up, you end up with this. Now, this here is for Bitcoin, but we have other chains and tokens that you can look at as well from an on-chain point of view. But we're just going to focus in on Bitcoin here for the moment. Now, we could, of course, look at the network analysis and talk about, the fee structure and all that kind of stuff. We could talk about the wallet counts, what's going on with BTC-based wallets and whether or not we're seeing selling pressure, buying pressure, and all those kind of things. But in today's video, I'm not going to focus so much on that, really focusing on the liquidation side, because with everything that's been going on with the price action for Bitcoin, we can see $59.6 million of liquidations in BTC, which isn't actually that much. It's been much higher recently. 82% are long positions, right? And that is an indication that a lot of people were going long on the market, myself included, because it was looking like the market was going to be getting that move to the upside. And instead, we find ourselves in this kind of liquidity grabbing situation. So you can see here, 82% of positions were wiped out that were long positions, and 17.98% were short positions that were liquidated. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Binance is at the top of the list, no surprise, with 24 million of liquidations. 40% of all liquidations for Bitcoin sat at Binance, which is dramatically different to where OKX was the other day, with OKX being, I think 80% of, 67%, I think it was, of all liquidations. $83 million liquidations just on OKX during one of those spikes of volatility. So we can see lots of liquidations going on. Let's bring back up our charts here, right? So everything that's kind of been going on here is basically just about grabbing as much liquidity out of the market as possible. Now, on this hourly chart, you can see that we're up against resistance right now on the 200 EMA. We're below the 50 SMA and the 50 EMAs as well. So again, we're going to be looking at those things coming up soon. Now, on our daily time frame, we are still looking for that fifth wave move higher, and I still think we're targeting out $40,000. That has not changed. We just find ourselves in the wave 4 still of this fifth wave movement. So obviously we've had our wave 4 on the daily here, but what I'm really referencing is the diagonal based pattern that we find ourselves in here, and we're looking for that big surge in that wave 5. This is a expanding diagonal structure in my opinion, and we are still looking for that $40,000 shot to the upside. Hasn't changed. The only way really that this is going to change is if we break down lower than the wave 2 low point, because that would create invalidation on the pattern. That would basically create a breakdown of this bullish pattern here. So we want to be aware of that, but I still at the moment we're within the confounds of the structure, so that hasn't changed. We are still progressing quite nicely to the upside. Nothing here has changed that narrative at the moment. We are oversold on the daily. That is going to give us that momentum that we need. We just need to appreciate there's going to be a little bit more to the downside, retesting those existing lows that we've seen before we continue this move up higher. We are targeting $40,000. Now, from a weekly standpoint, we are, of course, in the ascending wedge, bearish pattern. We are obviously, up in this upper area of resistance, as you can see on the trend line. I still think we are going to be pushing on up into that kind of $40,000 level. We could probably wick up into that range, not a problem, before we break on down. We are heavily overbought. We are looking for corrective action on the weekly. We are likely to be moving back down to $30,000 in seeing how price reacts there. My expectation is we lose that and we go down to $24,000 to $25,000, where we'll probably consolidate for a bit before losing that, and then eventually hitting $21,000 to $20,000. That's going to take several months to play out, but that's kind of my expectation here, something to this effect. We kind of bounce around a little bit, finding upper areas of resistance, moving back down, finding more areas of resistance, and then moving back down towards our CME gap. This is kind of my expectation. As you can kind of see here, this would be unusual. It wouldn't be irregular. This would actually be a pretty nice consolidation pattern for Bitcoin and would allow us to essentially find really good levels of accumulation, good buying pressure from institutional level investors, and all in time for a Bitcoin spot launch. So I think what you'll find is approval or delays will happen. We'll see sell-off pressure on the back of that. Launching the product will be probably June in 2024, in my opinion, and really that's when you start seeing this extra liquidity getting added into the market. So I think it's going to be interesting. If we're lucky, we might get it around March time, coinciding expecting with a Bitcoin halving event, as I said before. But for the most part, I think between now and then, there's a lot of profits to be taken off the table, more liquidity to be grabbed, and essentially price consolidation to occur. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we can just continue moving up, but I think that would be very irregular. Markets don't like to behave in just one direction. They like to kind of, catch people off guard. And lots of people are bullish right now. Lots of people are FOMOing in. And generally speaking, this is when market reversals happen. But we'll see how this kind of happens and see what unfolds next here for Bitcoin. If you have found this video useful and informative, smash that like button. If you are new to the channel, why not subscribe? And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, why not check it out? Link is in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out? Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.